Howdy. Welcome to the show. My name is Demeanour, and I am the host and creator of the SnortCast. We've been going live twice a week on the SnortCast. I just love live TV. SnortCast. We've got international. We've got Williamsburg. We've got Ohio, Baltimore, Toronto. We've got Tonga. What? I think people just heard sex in the second point, so we'll flow from.
I am not ready to talk about it. It is. I just don't. Oh my God.
What the hell happened to your arm?
It's just a fashion accessory.
That was fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining the SnortCast, something that I deeply love doing, which is laughing, and I hope to see you on our show every week, keeping it snorting real. Howdy, and welcome to the SnortCast. I am your host, Demeanour, and also the main snorter of the show, and it's inspired by the real life snorting. Oh, God. All right, so we are live on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining our weekly show. It's a special edition. It is season 2 of the SnortCast. Not in lockdown, but because of Melbourne International Comedy Festival is just around the corner. And what a great way to talk to comedians about their work, about their processes, about their year off, because most of these shows were meant to be on in 2020. And, now it's on in 2021. But before we start the show, I would like to know where are snorting from. Let us know in the comments, put a snort emoji where you are snorting from all around the world. This show is basically for you. It's predominantly from LinkedIn. It's for people who want to be funny and want to learn how to be funny. And is it possible to learn to be funny? It's definitely a skill, but sometimes it's not. It's just part of a tip that you might need to learn how to be funny. Anyway, I'm just blubbering on. But just let us know where you are watching from. And you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and hashtag the SnortCast. And thank you so much to my Patreon community for supporting the SnortCast. By putting some money into an artist's pocket is a lot of joy. Thank you so much. And you know who you are. Thank you so much for supporting this show. Let us know where you are watching from, pop it in the comments, because I'm really excited to bring our 4th guest for this season 2 of the SnortCast. And I saw her perform a couple of years ago in Melbourne. It was at the Forum. She was hiding behind a curtain and had to introduce herself. She came out and she blew up the room. It was like in a little closet in that Melbourne International Comedy Festival. And she just recently pretty much got off the stage and performed at the gala, which is invitation only. So just to see that transformation of sitting behind a curtain and coming out and performing in front of 1,000 people is really inspiring. So a bit about Nikki Britton. Started out as an actor, exploded onto the comedy scene in 2011 with a warm, lightning pace, has performed at the Gala, Comedy Up Late, and also Just for Laughs Festival. She also plays Peter Hellier's sister on How to Stay Married, which is a show I was also on 2 years ago, and has appeared on other shows like Sheila's, The Other Guy, and The Project, Hughesy's We've Got a Problem. Oh, God, there's heaps of stuff she's been on, heaps of stuff. But her show that was postponed is called One Small Step. It's part of the Comedy Festival and had already won awards in 2020 in Perth and Adelaide. And before I bring her on, I want to show you a bit of her work. So you get to see the fire that she lights up on stage. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. All right.
Hi, you guys. How's it going, you guys? Yes! Oh, I'm fucking good as well, guys. This is capping off a really good week for me, I'll be honest. This week, yesterday, I put on a load of washing and brushed my teeth. Same fucking day, guys. I'm getting it done. Oh, thank you so much. And in the I filed my tax return. Oh, take that 2014-15. Fuck off. Oh, it's so good, guys. It's good. I'm nailing life. It feels good to be nailing something. To be honest, I'm not nailing anybody at the moment, but I am celebrating love all the time, pretty much every weekend. I celebrate love at someone else's wedding. Is anyone else going to a lot of weddings? Is anyone at that stage in life? Yeah, right. Yeah, how old are you? The person who you whooped? 27. Yeah, so same age. Yeah, same age. Good, yeah. So I enjoy a wedding.
Please welcome Nikki.
Hi, mate. How are ya?
I'm good. And we're both 27, aren't we?
Absolutely not a day over it. Yeah, I've been 27 for a while now.
Not a day over it. That's it. Great.
I don't know if there's a bit of a delay.
Well, 27's yeah, there's no, but you're here now. I think we've matched up together.
Oh, fantastic.
Does that work now? Am I matched?
Yeah, it feels good.
I hope so. Well, 27 is that death age, isn't it, for artists? Like, if you don't make 20, like, yeah, it's that Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain age. Like, it's a could make it. Yeah. Are you surprised you've made it?
Do I think I've made it?
Are you surprised you got past 26?
I'm surprised I made it. Look, you know what was helpful was I didn't do heroin. I think that definitely has helped me get past the 27 mark. In fact, I'm quite vanilla off the stage. I just like a little morning walk. So yeah, I think being incredibly boring off the stage has helped me very much survive beyond 27. I am incredibly accident prone though. So, you know, I'm 10 years past the 27 mark, but I also don't want to flirt with the universe about like, oh, look how far I've made it. Because, I mean, just yesterday I was in a hotel room and the hairdryer caught on fire in my hand. So,
What?
Yeah, it's just another day in the life. Just ridiculous.
I did something stupid with a hairdryer 2 days ago and it went bust. I was too lazy to take off my jumpsuit to iron it. So then I got the hairdryer and started to iron my jumpsuit.
Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just good thinking, I think. It's
And
ingenuity.
And then it stopped working. I think I burnt the machine. The burnt thing. Yeah.
The element burn it out. Yeah, no. Oh,
Still alive.
Yeah, we've made it past 27 as well. Have you?
Yeah, I'm past 27. Yeah.
I mean, neither of us look a day over 25, obviously, but...
Thank you for coming on the show. Our audience are watching. If you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from and where you're snorting from. But Nikki, can you tell us 3 things about you that the audience don't know about you from the bio read?
Yes, I can poach eggs like a goddamn superstar. That's one. I learned a technique off a Flemish chef who was working for a circus in Paris once, and it's stood the test of time. 2, I'm actually a trained massage therapist. I worked as a massage therapist for a little while. That's one that I don't tell everyone because as soon as you say it, everyone's like, oh, I've got this sore neck. But that's a thing. And 3 is that my best friend I've known since kindergarten.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's how you know you're a good person. I think it's good to have someone who goes, yeah, you're still a good person.
Yeah, right. And this industry can get so crazy, and I think people assume things about you without really knowing you yet. So it's so nice to have someone that's just been there since you wet your pants in kindergarten, sitting next to them, and still, when things are getting crazy, they're like, oh, calm down, mate. You just
Did you find that with COVID that the relationship had a more of an intimacy? I found that with my girlfriends from high school, and same thing with you. Like my oldest girlfriend I've known since grade 4, that became this real intense intimacy during lockdown. Not that we slept with each other, but it became like, oh, we're a team and we're going to
just to get through it, and there's no judgment. Why not take it to the next level, you know?
Well, she's married with a child, and I don't think she's into women. So, you know.
That is hard to get it over the line then. That's hard. I hear what you're saying, though. Yes. Or she's married with kids as well. That is a funny thing about being this age. Like, everyone I know, everyone I grew up with is married with kids at this age, which is so lovely for them, and I'm so happy for them. But the lifestyles that we're living are incredibly different. I'm usually starting work when they're putting the kids to bed, and so I think that probably added to the intimacy of, for the first time in such a long time, we were all experiencing the same thing in the same timeline and the same kind of lifestyle. So I mean, I feel like there's going to be echoes of things that we learnt or developed or that changed for us in COVID for so long to come. But that is a nice thing. I think I reconnected with a lot of people that were important.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And let's talk about, you know, legacy and, you know, the year that we experienced. If you had to write a memoir about your life, what would be the title of the book?
My seat at the kids' table,
Correct.
maybe. I feel like I get put at the kids' table at weddings and things. Like I'm the only single one left, so I'm often. That's okay. I do enjoy hanging out with kids. Yeah, mate.
So fun.
My seat at the kids' table, maybe, or just like, with her tits in her shoes and a song in her heart. That could also be.
Oh, that's a beautiful poem.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. I mean, they're not getting any higher, you know, so lean in.
Yeah. If you've just joined us, I did show Nikki's performance at, I think there was a gala in 2019, and I just love the Frankfurt dance move. It's so good. Like everything's good. Just love it.
I've really observed women throughout time. I'm a big fan. What would yours be? What would the title of
wherever they are, but just keep that back straight.
Yeah. Yeah, what would the title of your book
you
be?
go on.
Oh, sorry. I think that cheeky delay's back.
Oh, no, you're all right. Called shit, maybe. Probably one of those. We definitely are feeling a lag now, aren't we? We're feeling a lag. All right. Let's go to the next question, which is we did talk about this was going to happen. Love live TV, love TV internet. What was your first memory of comedy? Because you started off as an actor, but was comedy part of your childhood? Was it something you like went, oh, this would be fun? Like, how did comedy get into your work?
Yeah, well, I never in a million years thought I would do stand-up comedy. I went to acting school and I thought, you know, I'm going to do the Shakespearean tragedies and be terribly dramatic. And I kept getting cast in comedy roles and I was like, oh, come on. And then people would, you know, people sort of said, oh, you should do stand-up. And I was like, no way, because we grew up watching Billy Connolly and Robin Williams, and these people were just phenomenal. Like, I couldn't even comprehend how they were, you know, coming up with this on the fly and telling stories and engaging with an audience that was looking them in the face. It just felt like the final frontier of like something that I could just never do. But we grew up, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up, and they would always watch I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball, And that was kind of the first comedy that I understood, which is kind of so lovely because she was such a boss. Like, she was obviously hilarious and one of the most well-known women in TV, let alone women in comedy. But she also was 40 years old when she got the contract to start doing I Love Lucy. She was the first, she pushed to have her real life husband, Desi Arnaz, who was Cuban, to be her real husband in the show because it was the first mixed race marriage that was seen on TV in America. And also she was on TV pregnant openly, first time that's ever been seen. Like, she was such a boss. But obviously I didn't know that when I was just watching her be an absolute joy-filled goose on the I Love Lucy show when I was growing up.
Wow. And look, I've interviewed quite a few people on the show, and they've said the same thing about Lucille. Like, she was just on the frontier of, joyful laughing and just being a woman and not having to fit into someone's, category of what comedy was. And I have to say, Nikki, you've created your own energy on stage. Like, you can't put you in a box, I have to say.
Oh, thank you, mate. That's very kind.
Because I like I said before when I introduced you on, like, I remember you hiding behind a curtain at the Forum Theatre, one of those closet small rooms, and we have to introduce ourselves. And I'm sitting in this small room going, wow, this is a small room. Like, how, and you came on and I felt like
everything out from behind the curtain.
And, you filled up that whole room, like, regardless of what size it is. And I totally hear you when you talk about Robin Williams. He's got that feeling when he comes on stage too. So I guess, you've already talked about who inspires your comedy, Robin Williams and Lucille Ball. Who inspires you to keep doing the work that you do now? And, because you've been doing this for 11 years now?
Yeah, 10-ish, 11-ish. There was a patch there where I didn't for a while, but yeah. Thanks, mate. They are all very, very, I'm very, very grateful for all those very kind words. Thanks, mate. Who keeps me doing it? Well, I think the people who make me laugh, like my sister, my best mate, my family, and friends. Also just the fact that when you do stand up for 10 years, you don't really have any other skills. So to be honest, now I've sort of painted myself into a corner and I've just got to keep going. But also it is that sense, like, I find shame quite funny when it's shared, not to be all Brené Brown on us and shine a light into your shame and then it can't live in the darkness. But it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing when I stand on stage and I talk about stuff that no one's talking about, that everyone's experiencing, and you see, like, young women's faces, but mostly young women, just because that's kind of a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is busting myths and busting the kind of shame that we're set up to believe, and seeing their face just go like, oh God, but like, this feels inappropriate, but this feels liberating. And that's kind of my favorite world to work in with comedy. So I guess I keep doing it for that.
Yeah. And as I said before, like, you take up space, and I feel like you've used your acting training and you use it for stand-up, because stand-up's pretty much standing up straight, telling a joke, but you operate that whole stage. Would you say that your acting training has influenced your comedy?
I think so, yeah. And I think it kind of all adds up after a while. Like, I also went to Paris and trained as a clown.
Are you a clown?
Yeah. Sorry?
Who did you train with?
With Philippe Gaulier. Did you just say that? And I didn't
Yes.
hear you. Sorry, mate. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just did Clown and Buffon and the game over there. I didn't do the full 2 years or anything, but
Yeah.
it was, you know, that added to it, acting school added to it. I worked I worked in children's hospitals entertaining sick kids for 12 years. And I feel like that has informed a lot of what I do in comedy. Just that sense of we're all like just flesh and bones, and we're all, you know, it's okay. I feel like if anything, if there was a message in my comedy, I would just want for everyone to walk out and go, oh, I'm okay. I'm enough. I'm acceptable. And I'm, you know, that would be what I'd want people to feel. And I think that, yeah, all of those things have kind of added up to, you know, landing a joke with precision or doing the right character to get that across, to like the physicality of the clowning stuff, and then hopefully the humanity in it as well.
No, definitely. Now I fully see it because I studied clowning and Buffon too. So I did John Bolton full time.
Oh, yeah, John Bolton's like the British Goliath, right? And much kinder, I understand.
Yes. Yeah, so I was made redundant from my government job, and then I used that money to go to school for 4 months full time, learnt the clown, and I love the Buffon, and I totally hear, now I can see it in your work. It's kind of like pow, 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 this is the world, but I'm eating it. Oh, yeah, so I totally see it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, those, am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, phew. Goliath used to call the Buffons the unfuckables, and you know, like just these people who are like, and I look, you know, I'm a single lady who would really like the touch of a man at some point, but also that is that sense of just letting go of any ego or any kind of sense of wanting to appear attractive or special or impressive or whatever, and just kind of tearing through with like life force is that's I hope that's there on my best night. I hope that's there. Yeah,
that's so hot. That is so hot. I love it.
Thank you. Because there's a grumpy French man in Paris somewhere being like, she's completely unfuckable, huh? Nobody would touch her. Not even the addict sexual will quack, quack, boom, boom with her. So that makes me feel better.
Love it. Thank you. So leading straight into my next question is that you finished filming in Melbourne for How to Stay Married, season 3 or 4, is it up to now?
Season 3 we just finished, yeah. Yeah,
Great.
we're keeping our fingers crossed for a season 4, but we don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I was on there last year, and that's how we connected, because we saw each other at the rap party. That's it.
Yeah.
How has it been for you working on TV and getting, you know, being an actor, doing the comedy, and then going back to acting? Like, how has that been great for you?
It's been amazing. It's kind of the dream, really. Like, I still think of myself as an actor and that I want to be an actor. And I'm very grateful to comedy for everything it's done and everywhere it's taken me and stuff. But it is so nice to sort of have that come full circle, you know, that now stand-up's led me back to acting, which is really nice. And yeah, I, you know, like we've said, have a very busy face, a very busy body. The main thing I have to remember is, oh, you're not on stage now, you're on screen, because I will often like, wah! And so the discipline of screen makes me have to remember, you know, to just kind of calm it down a little bit, which is very good for me. But that little show, like, you did such a great job of your character on that show. There was a lot of snorting and sniffing.
Look, I think you and I both went on the blooper reel. And I would imagine you were on a blooper reel a lot.
I was in the first season, I was like, I'm not getting on the blooper reel because I'm not even going to laugh. Like, I'm not going to do anything. And then I watched the blooper reel back, and obviously Pete Hellier is the star of the show and the executive producer. So he's kind of the boss of a few things. And I watched the blooper reel and I was like, Pete's corpsing all the time. He's just like cracking up laughing. And then it became this thing of like, okay, the blooper reel's a fun time. Anyway, second year, we made it to the blooper reel. I reckon there's a few times this year I will definitely make it to the blooper reel. I set off an alarm. Just a lot. Just classic accident-prone Nikki Britton. Really.
Yeah, you're the clown on set, and we need that, especially I think in the year that we've had, and with the industry being shut down, like you're so much joy. Like I think they really just hired you to burst that bubble that we've been, shoot some Nikki out.
That's really kind. Thank you, mate. I hope so.
Nice.
I hope I burst a few things.
Yes, we'll find out. We'll see season 3 when it comes out on Channel 10. And let's talk about your comedy festival show, One Small Step. It is March 25th, April 18th, full season, 7:40. What inspired the title One Small Step?
Well, they often ask for a show title before you've written the show. So One Small Step felt ambiguous enough. But also I sort of knew that I was going to tell this story of a time that I went to Italy, and I had, I went on this solo adventure before I had this incredible job lined up in the UK. And I arrived in Italy, immediately got pushed off a train, broke my ankle, solo in Cinque Terre. I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's on the side of a cliff. So it's all just stairs and hills and old cobblestones and very picturesque if you can walk it, if you can get around in any way. And so began the next 2 months of my life. That was, when I say I'm accident prone, I'm not mucking around. It was a real time. So I sort of knew that I was going to tell that story and how one small step can change everything, the course of everything. But also, actually, maybe that's I'm just going to write that in my notes because, look, I'll be honest, I don't fully have an ending yet. So maybe taking one small step can change the course of everything. That's not the worst idea I've had. But
no,
and then
quite poignant,
isn't it? Maybe that's the ending. I can't really. It's so funny because we wrote these shows at the beginning of last year. Like you said, toured it to Perth, toured it to Adelaide, and then didn't do it in Melbourne. So now it's like this bizarre little time capsule of jokes, stories, and experiences. And so the ending that I had, it feels like it's an ending to a show 55 years ago. It just is not working anymore. And I think that's kind of cool. We've all been through this thing and we're all out the other side and we're different people for it. So it doesn't help with me writing an ending that works a week out from opening night.
No, I'm glad. I'm in it with you as well. I'm trying to figure out what this show is about. I haven't premiered it, so we'll see on the Thursday 25th because you open March 25th as well, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
a week yesterday. I've got 6 days now.
6 days. 6 days.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited.
For the ending. I think you're fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah, you really want awards. You'll be collecting them.
Thanks, mate. I'll take an extra suitcase just to bring back all my awards.
I want to talk about something that's really important to me. The reason why I do the SnortCast is about diversity in comedy. And recently in the world, we've had women have had to stand up, non-binary people, we've had gay marriage, like, equality in marriage only happened in the last 4 years. How has been diversity for you from the last 11 years since you've been in, and is there more that we can do? And especially for me, I'm really in the muck of it because of the shooting that happened in the States recently. Yeah. And I'm just trying to process, that it doesn't happen to specific women, it's all women, this kind of world that we're in. What are your thoughts on it, and how are you in it all?
It is so that is the sense that I have. It feels like so powerless. I feel so powerless sometimes, and then I feel so powerful, and that really probably doesn't answer your question much. From what I've experienced 11 years ago, 10 years ago when I started, there weren't many women, and there weren't many women to look up to. I mean, there was Judith Lucy and Denise Scott and all of these phenomenal women at a certain level, but at that sort of mid-range career level, I wasn't seeing them, and I wasn't gigging with them, and it was just relentless open mic nights, going to another early 20s white guy do a joke about abortion. And I remember thinking, I cannot do this. Like, I have to find a way to get on the train that's going up. Like, just work so hard that you are. In fact, there was an interview recently with Sarah Silverman where she says you've just got to be undeniable. And then 10 years ago, that's kind of what I started to foster in myself. You've just got to work so hard. You've got to get the most laughs on the night. You've got to get them, there's no excuse to not book you and pay you like you're worth this, which I never really said out loud, but it was just kind of this like, doof, 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 just keep going. Yeah. So you could in some way outrun the muck that you were having to exist in. Now that's, in no way am I saying anyone can outrun this. As a white woman, there is so much that I will never understand. I will continue spending my life trying to understand and elevating the voices of people, from people of color and marginalized communities and stuff. But there is, but I'll never fully understand that. But yeah, so speaking just from my point of view, I had to be super resilient and just, undeniable. And then, even then, there has been so many tour buses that I'm the only one. And there's 8 men and we're drinking brekkie beers and they're farting. And I love guys and I love so many male comedians. They're my really good friends. But to not have yourself reflected in your own community, and that's changing, and that's the last 5 years has been incredible with changing that. But I hope what I've lived through has led me to being as supportive as I possibly can of women in comedy, of diversity in comedy. And I mean, the stuff that is going on in the States is just like the language being used. He was having a bad day, or he was a sex addict. Yeah. What are you talking about? But yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question at all.
No, it does. And I think you mentioned in the first, like when you first spoke, it's like some moments you feel powerless and then moments you feel powerful. And that's unacceptable for a human to constantly do that. And I say as a human being because that's what women do. We're shifting in gears, like we're like a manual car. And sometimes, that's why, you're performing at the gala or performing your own show or doing what you do. And, talked about Buffon. I see that power that you have when you go on stage, when you're like, fuck this. My moment on stage is to give you joy. And and I'm in my power, and it doesn't matter if a man or a woman, I'm doing this for my audience and for that face to go, what the fuck is she doing? Yeah, so
it's almost
keep
like,
doing that.
oh, thanks, mate. Thank you. It's almost a sense of like, I've got nothing left to lose, or or, you know, like I have everything to give you right now in this moment. And that's, you know, where, you would very well know when you're in that moment of flow, when you're kind of in that presence and, you know, exchange with an audience is really magical. But just to clarify, because I would hate for any young female comedian to be like, well, I just have to be undeniable, because that isn't entirely healthy either. I think that just illustrates the point that way back then it was like you couldn't really fail, because there was still this ridiculous myth out there that women aren't funny and women just talk about periods, and which is all horseshit. But if you were the only woman on a bill and you didn't have the best night because you were trying new material, which we all have to do from time to time, or you were sexually harassed backstage before you got on, which has very much happened to all of us, you know, for whatever reason, if you didn't necessarily have the best gig, audiences would walk out and go, oh, yeah, women aren't funny, because that one woman didn't have a stormer of a gig. And so, you don't – it sounds incredibly inflated for me to say I was representing my entire gender every time I stepped on a stage. I certainly don't mean that. But in a microcosm of a moment or a show, it kind of could feel like that sometimes. And I love the fact that there is so much more gender equality on lineups now, and that is something that people are taking very seriously, and it's so consistent. And now, like, nothing bad can come from diversity in comedy. Nothing. It just means that more points of view are being expressed, more perspectives, more voices are being heard, so more people have access to something that they understand and enjoy, so more people in the world are laughing. Like,
that's it.
Get it, do it, be it, live it. Yes.
Well,
I love it.
Good. That was the reason why I started the SnortCast lineup in St Kilda, was because I found like there was a lot of pressure to be the good Asian comedian, and you couldn't fail.
Right.
And so with the SnortCast lineup, I fuck up that whole structure and say you can have 2 to 3 Asians on one bill without having to call it diversity. But that's the word we have to use, you know, to sell tickets. So I niche it. I say it's a diversity lineup, but I'm like, actually, this is a true representation of Australia. 50% women, 50% men, non-binary. There was one show I did, Geraldine Hickey, and I had 2 non-binary performers, and everyone was commenting, going, "This is strange," because now there's jokes about being non-binary on the lineup with these two people. You know, it was I'm just still confounded, but I know that, as you said, we just have to keep going up and do it our own way. Like, you just have to shoot it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you get a bit like splinched with the whole marketing of things like that, right? I can only imagine with what you're trying to do, because you try and get publicity or someone to cover a story on the show that you're putting together, and they're like, wow, a diversity lineup, or like, did you hear there's this show going on where it's 50% men and women, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
You just love to show up to work one day and your genitals not have to matter. It'd be great.
It'd be great.
And, you still want to be on the list. You still want to be on the funny women list, or the upfront gala, or the, it's managing it all, I guess.
That's it. And we're working it. It's not a full stop, I guess. This is progress, and we've got to make sure that we keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I feel like I feel like I've just got so intense and impassioned. I've really not said anything funny. I promise the comedy's there as well, guys. If you're watching it, just like, okay, mate, get a bit more political.
Well, that's what the SnortCast is about. It's about what's behind you, this human being. Like, you are more than this comedy. I think for me, 2020, I realized I had used comedy as a shield, and I wanted to find out who makes this comedy. You know, you're like, I'm so glad we got to meet properly on my show. But, you know, it's really great to see all this training that you've done to create who you are. And I guess it leads right into my next question is, for people on LinkedIn, they're in corporates, they stand in boardroom meetings, and they just want to be funny. What would be your comedy tip for someone who just wants to, you know, allow a room to burst into a bit of laughter?
I would always say authenticity. Being authentic. Don't read a joke book and, I mean, sure, read a joke book if the jokes, you know, they feel right to you and they are your experience. But they're not probably gonna be. And that joke that really killed at your brother-in-law's wedding, that was said by the best man, it's fine, but it's probably not going to work for you. So I would say authenticity, your experience, you know, what happened to you on the way. I mean, it's such a cliche, on my way here. But I mean, being in a boardroom, you're at such an advantage because you're in a shared space, you're in a shared experience with people who are all sitting at the same table, who possibly all work in the same industry, or they've had the same thing to eat at the breakfast meeting, or, you know, there's a unity and a shared experience there that's really ripe for comedy because it feels so immediate and intimate and in the moment. And obviously that's why so many people are doing jokes about COVID, because everyone in the entire world's experienced this similar thing and the same kind of feelings. And that's killing. It's killing because even though people don't really want to hear about COVID, it's something that we can all, you know, relate to and we've experienced together. So, yeah, I would say authenticity. Don't try and recreate anyone else. Just speak your truth and speak from the heart and talk about what you find funny, and it will translate. People will feel that from you. And then also look for what unites you or the experience that you've all kind of shared together. And that's, that's usually a pretty good shortcut to a gag.
Yeah, keep it real. Keep it real. That's what you're saying. We're going to go to questions and saying hi to our community who's watching. Mike from the US. We've got Given from Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show. Mike said, it's within you, life coaching and spiritual guidance to achievement. I'm not sure what you meant, Mike, but Georgetown, Florida, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Mike.
Connections, building of and maintaining lasting relationships. That is correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep your community tight who know you for all your shits as well. You don't want perfect, I don't think. We also have self-awareness and insight. Fung from Melbourne. Yes, we have plenty of time. I'm not sure what that was coming from, but we'll figure that out later. Given's written, Robin and Seal were great comedians. I'm glad there's people out there such as yourselves to carry on the torch. Yay!
Oh, thank you, Given.
I love that.
I certainly, I'm not certainly not putting myself in the same echelon as them, but they were pretty extraordinary of their time. Absolutely.
They were. Sherry from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining. James has written, a warrior of light is not perfect and more than we could imagine, have more flaws than what eyes can perceive. Damn. That is.
We're getting deep on these comments today.
Yeah, LinkedIn can get deep. I'm just saying, it's all about mindset.
I'm not on LinkedIn.
Yes, I did try to find you on LinkedIn. Like amen. I think when we were talking about diversity, he was going with us. And he said, love your show, ladies. You've made me a fan, but my granddaughter calls. All the best. Thank you, James, for joining. And Given has asked a question. Do you think political correctness dampers what or how you approach comedy?
This is such an interesting question that you get quite a bit.
Mm.
Like, for me personally, a lot of my comedy is about myself and about experiences that have happened to me. And like I said, I'm a woman. I've experienced the world as a white woman, and that is the point of view that I share, because that's all I know.
Mm.
And sometimes, so I don't think that there is. I just kind of. There's a concept. It's really hard to say, because I don't think I've ever made a joke or wanted to make a joke that was harmful to someone else, or was what you'd say punching down to someone else. So, like, the concept of punching up and punching down. Basically, if there's someone of a different class of society, I hate even saying that, but if people have, they're a different color or religious belief or economic situation than you, it's not very nice to be like, yeah, I gotcha, and make fun of those people. But if I made jokes about a very rich straight white man in his 60s who's in a very privileged position, that's kind of okay for me to punch up and take the piss out of him. Having said that, I don't even tend to do that too much. Yeah. So for me, no, political correctness doesn't dampen my comedy. I also think it makes makes comedians smarter, because punching down it's not nice, but it's also a cheap laugh. It's not, and I think audiences actually now are really savvy, and they don't want to hear stuff that is homophobic or transphobic or, misogynist or racist. They don't. It doesn't. No, it's not.
The audience have changed from the 20 or 10 years that we've been in comedy for. I've seen comedy that's been on Australian TV, I think, or so. Yeah, I do think the audience are smart, and I'm really interested, like, hoping to find out from you what you compare your show One Small Step to performing it now with experienced COVID 2019, COVID-19, how your audience now watch your show, because I'm really interested in how audiences now will listen to comedy, because they've really evolved themselves. Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? It's like the whole world just went like, boop. Like we took a step up in evolution or something. Yeah. I mean, you hope, and I hope it sticks. Look, I'm exactly the same as you. I'm excited to see how it all goes over. It's a funny thing. Like, when we started going back to gigs in comedy, it felt like this huge elephant in the room to not do jokes about COVID. But after having done a few, you realize also people are like, please no more. Don't do that anymore, please. Thank you. Don't, we've heard so much about COVID. Just, we came here to escape. And so I think it is striking that balance. Between, Oh, you go. I'm so sorry. There was a bit of a glitchy.
Oh, no. I was thinking, like, how many times do you want to hear about toilet jokes or about being Melbourne in lockdown, and, but you have to hit it. It is the fine balances of finding that, because that's a real laugh. That's an organic laugh, because everyone's experienced that. So
totally,
that's our job.
Yeah, totally.
Got one more question, and Mike, this is a question from me. What is a question you would ask Keanu Reeves if you ever met him?
Are you a time traveler? Are you actually aging the same way as everyone else? Are you a vampire? Would you like to go on a date?
Bam. Yeah, love it. Thank you. Nikki, thank you so much for being on the show. One Small Step, March 25th to April 18th, 7:40. You can book tickets at comedyfestival.com.au. Thank you for being real and speaking, and it's so great to know that you've done all that physical training. I get it. I see it. It's beautiful.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks.
It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Fantastic. And thanks to everyone who's joined us and watched the show. Thanks for joining the SnortCast. You can follow us on the links here, and we'll see you next Monday with Sammy Shah talking about his show. Thanks, Nikki, and we'll see you, everyone. Bye.
See you in Melbourne.
See you, everyone.